Sarah loved carving pumpkins. She would spend hours cutting these beautiful designs into them. But before she left the house, she wanted to take a quick picture of the pumpkin to post on social media. But when she went downstairs, she noticed something strange. This time it was smiling, but not a friendly smile. It was cruel and mocking. It seemed to be laughing at her. Sarah felt tears pricking at her eyes. In the dim light, she could see the outline of a face. Then it moved, turning its head toward her. Panic surged through her. Gasping for breath, she found herself lying on the floor, the remnants of a dream clinging to her like smoke. Sunlight streamed through the window, painting stripes on the floor. Disoriented, she sat up, the memory of the nightmare pressing against her like a shroud. The room was quiet, the remnants of the dream clinging to her like smoke. The pumpkin sat on the table, its carved grin seeming almost mocking in the morning light. Shaking off the last vestiges of the dream, she stood up. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a trapped bird desperate for release. The dream had been so real, the fear so palpable, it had awakened something primal within her. Was it just a dream or a warning? Glancing at the pumpkin, she saw something that made her blood run cold. Inside the hollowed-out expanse, nestled among the tangled mess of string and flesh, was a small, intricately carved box. Curiosity warred with apprehension, but the allure of the unknown won. She approached the table, her fingers hovering over the box. Hesitantly, she lifted the lid. A rush of frigid air washed over her, carrying with it the scent of decay and dust. Nestled within lay a single object, a small, unassuming key. Sarah stared at the key, its coldness seeping into her skin. It seemed to hum with an energy that both fascinated and terrified her. What did it unlock? What secrets did it hold? Sarah's gaze shifted back to the pumpkin, its carved features seeming more sinister now. Had the pumpkin sent her a sign, a message from beyond? Driven by a mix of morbid curiosity and a desperate need for answers, Sarah rose. The key felt heavy in her pocket as she stepped outside. The key led her to an old, weathered chest hidden beneath the floorboards of her attic. With trembling hands, she inserted the key and turned. The lock clicked, and she lifted the lid, revealing a diary bound in human skin. As she flipped through the brittle pages, the diary revealed the existence of an ancient entity sealed within the pumpkin. The diary spoke of rituals, sacrifices, and the summoning of unspeakable horrors. One entry detailed the creation of a vessel to contain the entity, a vessel that would walk among humans undetected, feeding on their fears and whispered secrets. The final entry told of the key, the one Sarah now held, the one that would set the entity free. Sarah realized the pumpkin had chosen her as its vessel, using her own design to mock and terrify her. But how could she break the curse? Was there a way to seal the entity once more? Or was she doomed to forever carry its darkness within her? The diary offered no answers, leaving Sarah to confront the chilling truth. She was not merely a girl who carved pumpkins. She had become a pawn in a terrifying game, a game played by forces beyond her understanding. And as the sun set, casting long shadows across her room, Sarah knew she was not alone. The pumpkin on the window sill seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, its carved grin a silent promise of the horrors to come. The diary lay open at her feet, a testament to the darkness that now resided within her. And as the night deepened, the whispers began, weaving tales of madness and despair. Sarah clutched the key, its icy touch a reminder of the power she now held and feared. The battle for her soul had begun. Sarah ran to the other side of the room. The candle rolled after her, never stopping. Finally, she climbed onto the sofa and ran to the other side. Trapped between the wall and the candle, she slid down to the floor. It inched closer and closer until she could see the grin on its face. She squeezed her eyes shut, waiting for it to touch her. But when she opened them again, the candle was gone. On the floor where it had been was a lighter. Picking it up, she hesitated for a moment, then pressed the button. It clicked and a flame sprang to life. Sarah gasped and dropped it. The flame rolled across the floor toward the pumpkin. Touching it, the flame flared up, then the pumpkin burst into flames. Sarah watched in horror as the fire spread, licking at the walls and dancing in the sockets of the face she had carved. The smile seemed to widen, as if amused by the chaos it had caused. Flames crackled above the grinning pumpkin, casting long shadows on the wall. Tears streamed down Sarah's face as the room filled with smoke. The heat intensified, driving her back. The pumpkin face seemed to mock her with its silent grin. Memories flashed before her eyes, moments of joy, love, loss, and hope. Was this how it would end, trapped in a burning room with a sinister pumpkin? She stumbled to the door, desperate for escape. But as she reached for the handle, a voice echoed in her ear, soft yet chilling. "You can't leave," it whispered. Sarah whirled around, her heart pounding. There in the flickering light, the pumpkin seemed to pulse with an eerie glow. Its grin stretched wider, revealing rows of sharp teeth. A single word escaped its carved mouth. "Stay." Sarah recoiled, fear gripping her. The voice slithered through the room like a venomous snake. "You are mine now," it hissed. Sarah screamed, a sound lost in the roar of the flames. She backed away, tripping over furniture in her haste to escape. But wherever she went, the voice followed. It taunted her, whispering promises of pain and torment. Desperation clawed at her throat, choking her scream into silence. The flames danced around her, their warmth a cruel mockery of her terror. The room grew hotter, the air thick with smoke. Sarah collapsed onto the floor, tears streaming down her soot-streaked face. The pumpkin's laughter echoed in her ears, mingling with the crackling fire. It seemed to revel in her fear, basking in the glow of their shared destruction. Hope flickered and died within her. The door seemed a distant memory, the window a mocking silhouette against the orange haze. Surrounded by the inferno, trapped by the voice, Sarah felt despair settle upon her like a shroud. The pumpkin's grin widened, its presence growing, consuming her with its silent menace. Would she burn alive in this room, held captive by the malevolent spirit of a jack-o'-lantern? As the fire raged, Sarah closed her eyes, bracing for the inevitable. She had carved a simple pumpkin, but it had become a vessel of darkness. Now its face mocked her, promising a fate worse than death. She didn't want to believe that someone was messing with her. But who else could it be? She was about to delete the picture when she read one reply that stood out. "Your jack-o'-lantern looks like he has a plan," the tweet said. Sarah read it again and again. Could it be true? Was the pumpkin planning something? But how? Suddenly the floorboards creaked. Sarah jumped, knocking the phone out of her hand. Then she heard footsteps in the living room. Someone was there. Hiding behind the couch, she waited, holding her breath. But when she heard the front door open, she couldn't help herself. She peeked around the corner. Nobody was there. Had she imagined it? Rubbing her eyes, she went back to the living room to pick up her phone. That's when she noticed something strange. On the TV screen, which had been turned off the night before, was the same image she had tweeted. Below, it was a clock counting down from 12. What did it mean? Who had changed the channel and why? And what was the countdown for? The face she had carved into the pumpkin had changed during the night. Sarah screamed and ran to the window, pushing the curtains apart. Outside, she saw the other houses were still brightly lit. So why were the lights out at her house? When she turned back, she realized something. The candle she had put inside the pumpkin to give it a spooky glow was on the floor. And then she saw it move, slowly at first, then faster. It rolled toward her, bumping into her feet. Sarah screamed again and fell backward onto the sofa. The candle stopped moving, and Sarah slowly regained her breath. Was she having a nightmare? Was that really a sentient pumpkin rolling toward her? Or was she just tired? Pushing the thought out of her head, she told herself it must have just rolled out of the pumpkin by accident. Standing up, she walked over to the candle and picked it up. It was cold to the touch, but then she noticed something strange. On its surface, she could see a faint outline of a face, the same face she had carved into the pumpkin. Startled, she dropped it, and it rolled away again. But this time it didn't stop. It rolled past her feet and disappeared under the sofa. She had made a scary face, but now it looked like an innocent jack-o'-lantern. Its smile was no longer evil. Its eyes weren't sinister anymore. What had happened? Was it some kind of prank? But who would do such a thing? Her family were all away for the weekend, and she lived alone. Plus, the front door and windows were all shut, so nobody could have gotten in. Confused, she posted a picture of the pumpkin on Twitter and asked if anyone else had experienced anything like this. But instead of getting answers, she received hundreds of replies, all making fun of her. They said it looked more like a cute cartoon character than a scary monster. Some even offered to buy her a new pumpkin so she could make another attempt at a scary face. Humiliated, Sarah decided to ignore the haters and try again, turning them into terrifying faces that would scare every trick-or-treater who came to their door. But this year, Sarah was busy with work and didn't have time to carve a pumpkin. So she bought a ready-made one from the supermarket. It wasn't much to look at, just a big orange ball with a flat surface. So when she got home, she decided to make the pumpkin face her scariest yet. With a big smile and sharp teeth, she cut out a triangular nose and two big eyes that were sunken in deep sockets. The next morning, she woke up early for work. She spent hours planning the face, measuring where each feature should go, making sure she would be happy with it. Finally, when she thought she was ready, she started cutting. At first, it went well. She cut out a jagged mouth full of sharp teeth. Then she moved on to the eyes, making them deeper and more terrifying than before. As she worked, she began to feel a sense of calm wash over her, letting the rhythm of the knife through the skin soothe her troubled mind. Soon, the pumpkin had become a sinister-looking beast. Sarah smiled, finally a face she was happy with. But the next morning, the face had changed again. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. She crouched down and peered under the edge. And then suddenly, she woke up.